Hey, everybody, and welcome. We are Get Your Geek On. I'm Aaron.
I'm Robert. Hey, everyone.
And we thought we'd do a couple segments before the big show comes out on June 2nd for Talkin Geek Season 3, Episode 1.
Woohoo!
So, some news came out in the movies.
Yeah, well, a new trailer was released for Christopher Nolan's new movie, Tenet. It was originally slated to hit theaters, I believe, in July. At this point, we don't know if it's still going to... It officially is one of the only movies that hasn't been pushed back. No. But we also don't know if it's going to hit that July release date. But Christopher Nolan is very adamant that his movies get released in theater. It will not be one of those direct to streaming. It absolutely is coming to theater. He's one of my favorite directors. So, you know, obviously he did the Batman films with Christian Bale. Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Memento, The Prestige.
I forgot he did The Prestige.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of really high quality movies in my opinion. He's one of my favorite directors, and so his new movie Tenet, which the trailer came out, the second trailer actually came out, and this movie, as you know, it's kind of a Christopher Nolan trope. It plays with time. There's always something going on with time. In this one, it looks like time is inverted in certain aspects. So there's times where things are kind of going backwards. And so it's obviously it's a little bit of a thriller. Mm-hmm. It's got some action in it. Robert Pattinson is in it, as well as John David Washington, who was in Black Klansman. He's actually Denzel Washington's son. Mm-hmm. And it looks super interesting. I mean, I love Christopher Nolan. So I'm always on board for anything that he's going to do. And this movie looked really interesting. So
is this going to also, because it says, and I don't know if it's true, is Michael Caine in it?
Michael Caine's in everything that Christopher Nolan does.
I mean, I feel like it. So
I mean, he's like, he's pretty much like his good luck charm. Like since I want to say it was Batman Begins was the first one he was in. Yeah. But he's been in Batman Begins. He was in that whole trilogy. Yeah. Obviously, he was in The Prestige. He was in Inception. He was in Interstellar. I don't remember if he was in Dunkirk, which is his most recent movie. So I don't know if he made it in that one. But he's been in just about everything that Christopher Nolan's done.
Do you think Michael Caine's going to introduce Robert Pattinson as Batman in the
Michael Caine. I do not think that. No.
I mean, it'd just be cool if they make a Batman reference, though.
Yeah.
Like somehow.
I don't know if they will. I mean, I feel like Christopher Nolan's like too good of a director to care about doing stuff like that.
Agreed. He's good. Yeah. If it was anyone else, maybe, but not him.
Yeah,
and it does look amazing. The effects in the films, I mean, they look stellar, honestly.
Well, and honestly, I mean, Christopher Nolan, not only does he tell really interesting stories, but his, his movies are always super interesting visually. Like if you remember back to like The Dark Knight, that opening scene where the bank robbery scene, or the opening scene of The Dark Knight Returns where they're on the plane, like that scene with Bane, like that scene is so awesome. Obviously in Inception you've got like a bunch of different really interesting visual stuff, like where the room is spinning and doing stuff. So he always like He does a really good job blending practical and visual effects together and making it look cool. So this movie looks no different. Again, I have like no idea what this movie's about. There's been 2 trailers that have come out and it makes like no sense, but it looks super interesting. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those movies that I'm going to have to see multiple times to understand it. But I'm really looking forward to it.
And to me, that's a Christopher Nolan thing. You have to watch his movies at least twice, I feel like.
I would agree.
Memento, I watched it the one time through and I was like, okay. And then I watched it again to get all the other little things like, oh. Yeah. And I was like, it's a good movie.
Well, and I love movies that mess with my mind.
Yeah.
Those, like psychological thrillers and stuff. And still, Memento is still one of those movies. Oh. It's actually the only movie I put it in, I watched it, and like at the end of the movie, I was like, what? And I literally just hit play again. I watched the same movie twice in a row in the same night, like immediately again. I was like, I need to watch this again because I don't know what's going on.
It makes you do that. And one of the cool things I like about Nolan, and I think it was in The Dark Knight, the scene where Batman has to go get the bank, the Chinese bank robber.
In Hong Kong?
In Hong Kong, yeah. Nolan wanted to have all these helicopters and planes because he wanted to shoot the IMAX film over there. And I remember he had this big extravagant like idea, and then Hong Kong is like, no, we don't want that many helicopters in our airspace. So they had to take it down. And I remember him being upset because he's like, I want the shot. This is how I want to do it. Yeah. So I can only imagine how this one's going to be, especially the one trailer I saw so far. It looks like a car accident going backwards. So like the car's flipping, but it's flipping back towards him.
Yeah.
It's like, what? That looks weird.
And there's another scene that they showed in the most recent trailer where it's like they come upon a scene where there's like a bunch of bullet holes, and he's like,
hasn't happened yet,
right? And he's like, what happened here? And he goes, it hasn't happened yet. Well, in the new trailer, they actually show like him in reverse, like getting shot at and trying to like stop the guy from. It's crazy.
Because I'm like, is he fighting him in reverse now?
I mean, yeah, it's weird. There's definitely. That's why I said time inversion.
Yeah.
Tenet is a whatever you call it, where it's the same backwards and forwards. Palindrome, maybe. I think that sounds right. Tenet, so it's the same words backwards or forwards.
Got you.
So clearly there's something going on in terms of time, in terms of the different characters, and so I'm, as a Christopher Nolan fan, he's one of my favorite directors working today. Definitely top 2 or 3. And I mean, I've never watched one of his movies and not liked it.
Yeah.
I think even probably his weakest film is probably Insomnia, and even that is like, I still like that movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this new movie, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it in theaters. I think that Christopher Nolan. And this isn't like new. This isn't just because of, the COVID pandemic. He's always really he's very passionate about filmmaking. Yeah. He's very passionate about, having films be in theater and other things like that. Like that's something that he really enjoys and likes.
Yeah.
And so, this, I think he's really pushing for this to be the movie that brings people back to the theater.
I hope so.
And I don't know if it will be. I mean, it's, depending on when they release it, there's probably still going to be a lot of places where people feel really uncomfortable going back into a public setting. And I totally understand that. I don't know that I'm ready to go back in theaters, but I can guarantee you this. If this movie comes back in theater, I'm going to find a way to see it in theaters because I have to see this movie in theaters.
I'm telling you, we get inside bubbles. We just roll in there like a hamster and we'll be safe.
Sure.
I don't see a problem with this.
Yeah.
It'll work. It will work perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what else will be working? On June 2nd, our Talkin Geek Season 3 show will come out. So definitely go check that out, guys. And I hope you enjoyed this. I love sitting here talking to Robert about movies. He's a huge movie buff, way bigger than I am.
I'm a nerd.
So definitely, guys. I mean, yes, he is, but it's okay. We still love him. But on that note, guys, remember to like, comment, subscribe wherever you're listening to podcasts, watching us on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're at. Please, definitely do that. And I hope you all have a great, week and everything, guys, and stay geeky.
And let us know, are you excited to see this movie, and are you excited to see it in theaters? Like, are you going to be comfortable, like if this movie comes out in July or August, are you going to be comfortable going to see it? Or are you going to wait?
We can all get in bubbles. We just get rolled in there like hamsters.
Sure. And
it'll work. I mean, do you have a hazmat suit we could sit in?
No.
Well, then
do you have a bubble I can sit in?
So Talkin Geek next week.
Check and Tuesday. Mate.
We'll find a bubble. We'll find some hazmat suits, and we'll see what works better, guys.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Yeah. So, anyways, we miss you guys.
We do.
We're excited to come back and do Talkin Geek again. So glad we were able to get together and do a little bit of segment here, talk a little bit about a movie that's coming out that we're both excited to see, and hopefully you are too.
Hopefully. Stay geeky, guys.